right, you're watching the AM show. Well, you've been asking some questions in the agricultural sector. Of course, we had a very good interview or conversation with the Minister in charge of Food and Agriculture. Of course, the Ahanta Pele had a sit down with him. He's been answering a lot of the questions that you've been asking. Sit down and watch.
Welcome to Joy News. And today we have a special sit down with a man who has been given a tough job. A job that demands of him to lead the transformation we want to see in Ghana's agricultural sector. But he is one man that the sector players tout as having the capacity to deal and to lead the transformation that we all expect in the sector. So as we are going through a period where farmers are complaining of glut and not having their product moving, we are having a sit down with him to find out what he has in stock for them. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Now, when it comes to the Agric sector, let's deal with the few months you've spent in office. I think this will be your maybe 8th or 7th month.
Yeah.
How has the journey been?
It has been a good journey. Good because we have had the support of all the stakeholders. We perfectly understand the tax, the challenges that we have to deal with. We sat down as a team, dissected the challenge, and then produce a document, a blueprint to guide our steps going forward in the ministry. And so we have the Feed Ghana program document, which has captured all the things that we have to do in order to ensure complete transformation of the agricultural sector. And we are now implementing them one after the other. And we are seeing positive signs. We are seeing the results.
Okay.
You see, we came into office at a time when Ghana was importing food in excess of $3 billion annually. That is very huge. What it means is that every year we spend $3 million to develop other economies at the expense of our own economy. At the same time, we are told that food waste or food losses is estimated at 30%, meaning that almost 1/3 of all the food that is produced in Ghana go waste. You can imagine a farmer having invested all your resources in your farming activity, and then when you harvest, 1/3 of your produce is thrown away. How then do you recoup the investment you made in your farming activities? And then again, we came into office at a time when food prices were ballooning. I know rising food prices has a positive relationship with the number of people in the poverty zone. When food prices are going up, it means that the number of people in poverty is also increasing. And so when food prices are coming down, then people are spending less to feed their homes, and they can therefore make savings to attend to other critical needs of the families, to invest in their children's education, to improve upon their health status, to even ensure that they provide balanced diets that can remove stunted growth and ensure that people grow to attain the status that they have to attain in society. Then we also saw that productivity and production were generally low in our part of the world. Because in other jurisdictions, when you put a hectare of land into the cultivation of maize, for instance, you are likely to harvest over 5 tons. But in Ghana here, the maximum we are doing is around 2 tons on the same piece of land. So clearly, we understood that the sector is bedeviled with a lot of challenges. And leaders are selected. They are put in place to ensure that such challenges are dealt with, solutions are preferred, and then the situation is normalized for people to enjoy the full benefit of their activities. And so we have done a lot of things on the ground within the shortest period of time to make sure we lay a solid foundation, what we can call the fundamentals to trigger a complete agricultural transformation.
Okay.
What are these fundamentals I'm talking about, the foundations? One, if you want to increase agricultural production and productivity, you have to look at how effectively you can manage the soil. Because the soil is made up of nutrients. It is the nutrients that determine the output of whatever you put into the soil. How do you know that this particular nutrient is lacking in the soil, so that you apply the right fertilizer to restore that nutrient in order to achieve the balance you need to maximize your output? You have to test the soil. And for a long while, that has not been the priority of the ministry. Now it is a major priority. And thanks to the Food and Agriculture Organization, within the 3 months that I came to office, we had engagement with them, and they agreed, and they have procured for the Ministry of Food and Agriculture a modern soil testing equipment. And they are also rehabilitating the Kumasi Soil Laboratory for us. I'm also grateful to our research institutions. We know CSIR, they also have an equipment in place. They have records of soil mapping. They did soil testing some time ago. They also have record on crop suitability in the various ecological zones. The only thing we have to do is to update and then make good use of that. We also know that recently KNUST...
So how is the soil testing equipment that they've procured for you going to help?
Now our officer or soil scientists will go to the field, take samples from the various districts, test them to inform us on the nutrients levels, which particular nutrient is lacking for us to replenish. If after the testing, they come to tell us that, no, you need to increase the nitrogen level in a particular area, it means that the fertilizer that we are sending to that area must provide that nitrogen. If in another area, they say that, oh, it is phosphorus that you have to provide, then the fertilizer should be able to do that. So we just want to avoid the blanket or wholesale application of the same fertilizer across the country. Okay. We want to make sure that every activity of the farmer is data informed.
When will they start?
In fact, we started already. And just a month ago, I had invitation from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology that they wanted to launch a modern movable equipment, very portable, for soil testing. So I was a bit tight. I couldn't make it. My deputy attended the program. Yeah. But after that, I followed up and engaged with them. And I've seen the equipment. I even have one with me. It is something that we can just procure, give it to the extension officer. They put it in the soil, and then they can read the nutrients level and other things. Then they have another system through which they can do all the analysis. This is something they have made here in Ghana. And I'm happy that during the launch, people came from United States of America, they came from United Kingdom and several other places to come and see the wonderful things that is being done in Ghana here. So these are some of the scientific breakthroughs that we are witnessing. And this is fundamental. Once you are able to test your soil and you are able to determine crop suitability, that this crop is suitable for this area, is suitable for this area, and that area, you are good to go. You can increase production.
Is there a timeline you're going to use in checking these soils because of the seasons?
Yes. In fact, I think the next season we'll get our farmers informed on some of these results.
Okay.
Because the scientists are already on the field, the equipment available. In fact, very soon we are going to procure about 300 of the KNUST soil testing equipment and deploy them to the various districts for the testing.
Okay.
And so we'll be able to test all the soils and determine crop suitability to inform farmer decisions. That is just one. Okay. Then also, we have also had an agreement with the Italian people. They want to come in to help us achieve food security. And this intervention is bringing in 154 million euros. Under that project, we are doing what we call model farm. You know, model farm, when you talk about model farm, we want to set up a system where people will replicate So we are doing 10,000 hectare farm, all under irrigation. Under irrigation because as part of the pillars of the Feed Ghana program, one of the pillars of the Feed Ghana program is irrigation. That is transitioning Ghana's agriculture from rain-fed agriculture to irrigation agriculture. We believe that if we're able to do all year-round agricultural production, Ghana will attain food sufficiency within the shortest possible time. And this is the priority of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. So the chunk of the resources that we are getting from the Ministry of Finance, from the budgetary allocation, is going into the provision of irrigation infrastructure. Then we are also confronted with weather variability. You know, you are a farmer yourself, and you understand this perfectly. We depend on the mercies of the weather. If you are unable to predict the weather with that accuracy, you are likely to fail in your investment endeavor. And so agriculture is becoming a 50-50. When you are investing, you are not sure, you are not certain that you are going to make it. Now, we want to create that certainty by being able to accurately predict the weather. And I can tell you that now the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is fully prepared. We have the equipment to gather information to be able to determine, to predict the weather with much certainty.
Okay.
We have automated weather stations across the country.
Which is separate from the Met one, or you are doing
separate from the Met one? Well, we are doing it together.
Okay.
You know, they have the old ones. There's old ones.
Okay.
And faddy-daddy ones. But we have introduced modern ones to complement what they have.
Okay.
And procurement processes are underway. In fact, we are at the last stage to procure the management information system, so that the information that will be picked from the automated weather stations will be processed and analyzed. We want to eliminate, human interference, just to marginalize the error that will certainly occur. And this system is installed, and now we are able to tell our farmers that the dry season will last for 10 days, so don't plant. Plant at this time. Okay. But this information must be communicated to the farmers wherever they are. And based on that, we have had an MOU with the Ministry of Communication. I must commend my colleague Sam George for the speed with which he responded to our request. Now, under the arrangement, we can send information to our farmers on all networks free of charge. Okay. But we also understand that not all farmers can read and understand. So the other way of getting them to understand the information we are sending is to use our agricultural extension offices, to use the district assemblies, and also to use the local FM stations, the local TV stations, to use the churches, and most importantly, the cooperatives that we have formed. You know, from April this year, we decided to get our farmers to constitute themselves into community commodity focused cooperatives. They are people living in the same environment. They produce in the same ecosystem, the same commodity. So we want them to come together and form cooperative. Okay. They will be registered under the laws of Ghana and recognized as a legal entity. Now, when you put them together in such groups, the farmers will have a voice to negotiate for lower prices for inputs, a voice to negotiate for reasonable prices for their produce. And this will enable them enjoy the advantages of economies of scale. Okay. Then they will also have the opportunity to share ideas, brainstorm, and then propose solutions to some of the common challenges confronting them in their various fields of work.
I'm happy your focus is on the farmer.
And as you speak, let me say this, as you speak, within this shortest possible time, we have formed over 70,000 cooperatives across the country. And we are still counting. Now, after forming the cooperatives, we have a team moving from region to educate them. Because education is very critical. As cooperative, they must know what to do. We want to use the cooperative system to cure one of the biggest challenges confronting agriculture in Ghana. That is the inability of farmers to access credit to finance their activities. You know, single-handedly, you work to the banks, they run away from you. You agree with me that in 1965 or early 60s, Nkrumah thought of establishing the ADB, the Agricultural Development Plan, principally to provide finance for agricultural activities. Unfortunately, because of the low recovery rate, and because we don't have them in recognized groups, when you advance loans to farmers, repayment becomes a challenge. So most of the banks destined, quote unquote, to provide the financial muscle to agriculture are running away from agriculture. Now, when you have these cooperatives in place, they are recognized as legal entities. They have their leadership. They have their bank accounts. So they work collectively. So they can freely get to a bank and then have access to the amount of money that is required to be able to finance their activities.
So you mentioned food security. You also talk about...
I'm now talking about just the fundamentals. So I've spoken about the weather. I've spoken about the soil testing. And then also another critical point which must be made. You're a farmer, so you understand seed.
Yeah.
You know, without seed independence, attainment of food security will be a nightmare. Will be a dream. It will be difficult to put it on the ground. Because last year, Ghana had an experience that we must take a cue from. Because of the dry spell, we imported seeds from outside for our farmers to plant. The seeds arrived when the season had passed. So some of the seeds had gone waste. Even though we paid for it, we couldn't use it. And that can easily convulse your agricultural space. So what we are saying is that we need to domesticate seed production here in Ghana.
And there are companies doing that here.
Build the local capacity for our people to be able to produce the seed that we want. And that's exactly what we are looking at now.
Okay.
But after our interactions with the technical institutions, I mean the research institutions and the institutions of knowledge, we've come to the realization that the capacity really exists. What we need is just to give them a small push, bring them together, and then we'll be able to deliver that. As for rice seed, we have had an agreement with the Korean government, and it is working perfectly with us. You know, Korea, they have an agency here called Copia. I must commend them because at the beginning of the season, they donated 300 tons of Ejapa rice to us, which was immediately distributed to farmers across the country.
Free of charge.
Free of charge. And even as we speak, just last week, they came here and they have donated 154 tons. I mean, for us to supply to those who do rice production under irrigation.
Okay.
Because we are already in the lean season where you cannot be certain of the rainfall. And so they can depend on the irrigation infrastructure to grow. So we have just issued directive to the agencies responsible to immediately distribute to our farmers for them to plant. Then they are also training our farmers in rice seed production. Then we also have another agency from Korea called KRC. KRC is providing irrigation to cover land area of 100 hectares. Okay. The 100 hectares are going to be put into rice seed production.
Which area is this?
Dowenya.
Okay.
So the people they are training will allocate the 100 hectares to them under supervision from our technical people, and they will produce the rice for us to buy and distribute to farmers across this country.
Okay.
Then we have an agency again from Korea called KIAT. They are providing 1 megawatt solar farm to power the irrigation infrastructure. This is important because we want the cost of irrigation, the cost of getting water to the field to be affordable.
This is also at Dowenya.
At Dowenya, so that it will reflect in food prices. Because the strategy is that we must work to bring down food prices. Because when you talk about food security, it is not only about availability of food. We are also looking at affordability. We are also looking at the nutritious value. And we are also looking at the stability in terms of food supply, that you have in place mechanisms to ensure incessant supply of food to the people of your country.
But how do you reconcile?
So now we are also testing the seed.
Yes.
We have also procured seed testing equipment, all within the short time that we have been in office. PPRSD is an agency under us. They are legally mandated to test the potency of the seed before it is recommended for planting. Unfortunately, they didn't have that equipment to do this job efficiently. And so they were outsourcing to private sectors. And you can understand that if you are not careful, the quality of the test can be compromised. Now, thanks to Agric, they have procured for us a modern seed testing equipment and then a modern fertilizer testing equipment. And so now we have the capacity to test the soil, to test the seed, to test the fertilizer, to predict the weather, and you can imagine what will follow.
A lot of things will happen.
So the fundamentals are set.
Exactly. But let's come to what is confronting the farmer today.
Yes.
The farmer has produced. We have a lot of produce, but then they are not getting sales. They're not getting right prices. Just recently, farmers were complaining that even maize that they used to sell for 500 is now 200 Ghana cedis. How do you reconcile the two issues to ensure that your farmers are becoming satisfied to help you achieve the food security?
Now, let me first and foremost indicate that bumper harvest, producing more in a particular year, is a boon to the nation. And we should thank our God for blessing us to that extent. What is next is how to manage the bumper harvest. Our farmers have done so well. They have invested their time, their energy, and all the resources they have to produce in quantities beyond the expectation of the market. And now, the challenge is that they are not getting the market. You recall that during the budget preparation, we announced that we have provided 100 million Ghana cedis in our budget for the Ghana food buffer stock to step into the market, mop up the excess, store and release in times of need. This is the first time in the history of Ghana that this thing is being done. Don't forget, the National Food Buffer Stock was created in 2010, 2011. And the core mandate was to come into the market when there is excess produce so that the farmers will not suffer. They will maintain prices at moderate level to protect the interests of the farmer. And then in the lean season, when there is shortage and prices are escalating, rising in the market, they release to also protect consumers. Since its establishment in 2010, this core mandate has never been discharged until today. But the 100 million was insufficient to contain the situation. And so they came to us, reported that with the 100 million, these are the quantities of the items we have procured. And indeed, we have inspected their stores, they are bagging them, repackaging them, and keeping them for Mother Ghana. So we also made a case to His Excellency the President that this is the situation on our hand. We need financial, resources to be able to contain the situation. Our technical people were asked to go to the field to determine the volumes we are talking about in terms of the excess. Because we cannot sit in the office and assume that we are dealing with these quantities. They went to the field, and now we have an idea of the... Even when they went to the field, the figures they have given us are estimates. Estimates because in the northern enclave, in the 5 northern regions, they are still harvesting.
Yes.
So it will be difficult for you to determine the exact quantities. But we projected that with 500 million, you should be able to contain the situation. And the president has given us additional resources. Initially, we were thinking about 100 million, But now it has been increased to 200, additional 200 million.
Out of the 500 you were asking for?
Yes, and then the private sector, we are bringing on board other people from the private sector. They are bringing more than the 300 million that we even need. We have also spoken to WFP, and they are contacting their people in other countries. You know, they also have a responsibility to procure and then store and release to support the stress and countries in need. And they have also demonstrated interest. We also have private entities coming in. Just yesterday, there was a private person from Dubai with the resources he needed permission to go into the market, buy, and then export. And so we are putting in place...
Buy processed food produce or the raw? I mean, rice, for example. Is it the one that has been processed or just the...
In fact, some people have come, they want to buy the paddy. Some people are also in to buy the milled rice. And so we are trying to see how we can solve the problem for our farmers. Because if they don't get market, that will be a huge disincentive, a major source of discouragement for them to reinvest in agriculture. And you know, everybody produces in anticipation of demand. If the demand is not there, I mean, how do you invest your money? You invest for returns. You understand? And so we are trying to do everything possible to create that conducive atmosphere for agriculture to indeed transition into agri-business. But you must appreciate that you cannot solve all the problems within a day.
That's true.
Because we need to...
But how are you ensuring that for the farmer who knew that if I sell at 500, I will be able to recoup my investment, which is now selling at 200? How are you ensuring that the support coming in would let them sell at a price that they can recoup?
In fact, what we did from the beginning was that we set up a committee made up of representations from all the stakeholders for them to determine the price at which buffer stock will buy the produce. The minimum price. And the communication was simple. If you go to the market and because of the abundance of your produce is being bought below this amount, sell to buffer stock instead of that, because the person is abusing the system. So we said for a 50 kg bag of rice, it should be sold at 625 Ghana cedis, 625 Ghana cedis. So it means that you being a rice farmer, you go to the market with your rice and they are offering you prices below this. You should know that when you sell at that price, you lose your investment. So you look for buffer stock. Buffer stock will then buy and then store. The only problem is that the initial 100 million was woefully inadequate to contain the situation. But with the current arrangements we are putting in place, certainly we should be able to deal with the situation. The president has already directed that school feeding program, all the food that is served to our children, students in our schools, must come from local farmers, must be produced here. We don't want a situation where in the face of the glut, you go and buy imported rice to go and feed our children. Then he has also directed that for the first time, Ghanaian children in the schools benefiting from the school feeding program should be given eggs, because we also have egg grat.
Yes. Yeah.
Egg grat in the market.
Yes.
So now the Ministry of Education is also working with the National Food Buffer Stock to procure the excess eggs and then distribute to our schools so that we can improve the nutrition, the nutritious value of the food that is served to our children in our schools.
So how much is buffer stock buying maize, for example?
Maize, a bag of 100 kg is 450 Ghana cedis.
100 kg?
Yes, 450.
Then that's around the 200 cities that they are complaining about.
It's not 200.
No, I mean 50 kg. If 50 kg is 200. Of course,
okay.
100 is 420, you say. So that will be 210. They're complaining.
But normally we don't sell, they normally sell at 100 kg. But if you want to do 50 kg, then it means we have divided the bag into two.
Yes.
Because they have a system of measurement.
And they say by that amount, they are losing a lot. They are losing their investment.
You see, that's why we said that we did not impose the price on them. We never did. We invited stakeholders, including leaders of the farmers, peasant farmers leadership was part of it. I mean, rice farmers, all of them met and agreed on the way forward. So this is the price that was determined.
But which are these farmers? Because yesterday in the northern region, there was a demonstration.
Yes.
And they said that we used to sell at 500, now we are selling at 200. So which farmers came to agree that buy at 200 cedis? Because
No, we haven't said 200. Don't put 200 in my mouth.
No, I'm just saying that. You say 100 kg is 410.
450.
450.
So
if
don't
you
use your
it's
225
cedis.
You are doing the division.
Yes.
But that's how it is measured. They sell at 100 kg
so
per
100,
bag.
450.
450.
Yes.
And now I'm saying that the farmers have groups and they have their leaders.
Okay.
The leaders together with buffer stock constituted the committee.
Okay.
In fact, let me tell you this. When the committee finalized their work, the CEO is here, he communicated to me officially. I invited him to come and explain because I will be talking to it. He came, he gave me an explanation. I said, okay, let me look at the number of groups who participated in the determination of the price. So I invited some of them and then asked them about it. They said, oh, this is the reasons why we have to do this. And we are doing this because looking at the exigencies of the time, this is the most convenient way of cleaning the system and then restoring confidence. But it is something that can be varied going forward. I said, okay. But one group complained that they weren't part of it.
Which group is this?
AGI, Association of Ghana Industry. In fact, I met them in Denmark, and they complained. I said, don't worry, we haven't announced the price. When we come, we'll consult you. So when they brought me the figures, I took the phone and called them. AGI, these are the figures that the committee has submitted to me. What is your input? They said, give us some few minutes to do consultation and revert. And when they reverted, they said, I think everything is okay.
But AGI is not a farmer-based group.
No.
AGI
When the farmer-based groups and others had determined the price, that was the issue. But you see, let's understand this. Let's understand this. You sit here, and then you tell me that the farmers are even selling it at a price far below what we have determined. So the problem is not about the price now. The problem is about how we can clear the glut. So even what we have offered, if we are able to clear everything, the farmers will be so much excited. And then going forward, we are thinking about putting up storage facilities, getting a whole system in place to be able to buy the excess in a manner that will not create inconveniences for anybody. Because we have seen it, and we don't have to wait until it happens again before we come out with solutions. There must be concrete measures to contain such development going forward.
Do you know why I like you? Because you face the issues with the realities that you do.
Yes.
So that's why I want you to still be in that element of yours. Now, and you know that when you're going to farming, you do analysis with figures, numbers.
Yes.
If I did my numbers with 500 cedis,
yes,
let's say 100 kg, 1,000 Ghana cedis, and now buffer stock is doing well by buying at 450, I've lost 550.
No, I don't know. First and foremost, you must understand this. Buffer stock is not in there to compete in the market.
Yes.
The market is there for you.
Yes.
When you go and through the interplay of demand and supply, you can get your produce at a price above 10,000, sell it. Buffer stock has no problem.
Yeah.
It is when there is excess, to the extent that your produce is being bought at a price far, far, far below reasonable price.
Then you come to buffer stock.
Then buffer stock intervene. So the price buffer stock set is the minimum price.
Okay. So it means that anybody who's complaining about the 400 Ghana cedis for 100 kg should come to buffer stock and get 50 cedis more on the price.
No, the way you put it, is different.
Okay.
A chief came to me from, I don't want to mention the place. This chief is a big-time farmer, and his issue is simple. That a bag of maize, he was referring to the 100 kg, was being bought in his area at 200 Ghana.
Is it 50 or 100? You mean 100?
You know, that's the measurement.
Okay.
And then I asked, is it? He said the big one. I said, okay. So if buffer stock has money and can buy the 450 for me, I'll be so much excited. Okay. Even if you can't pay now, we can credit it to you. You store it. When you get the money, you come and buy. Yeah. So, but my brother, when it comes to the cost, I hope you have to listen to this attentively. Yeah. I heard somebody doing a comparison on one of the TV shows, maybe yours. And I think I will look for the opportunity to engage that person on the same platform for us to debate the issue for Ghanaians to have a better appreciation. He was comparing the price of fertilizers in the market to the price of the produce. And I said, this man does not know that as part of the program interventions, we are supplying fertilizer free of charge to our farmers.
Every farmer.
You know, when you say to the farmers, it cannot be every farmer. Okay. Because depending on the resource, basket, not every farmer can be served. Okay. But at least most of the farmers were given some quantities.
I mean, is it the grains or which farmers?
I'm talking about grains.
The grains, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about grains. Okay. And so when you are doing the cost analysis, you factor all these things into it. You understand?
Yeah.
And then also, note this. When you produce so much and you are not getting the market, if government does not intervene to mop up the excess, you are confronted with two options. Either to accept cheap prices or to let your produce go waste if you don't have storage facilities. So the rational farmer will then have to choose between the two. I personally have an experience I will not share with you today, but one day I will share that experience with you. I've told you I'm also a farmer. Yeah. My parents are all farmers. I perfectly understand the plight of the farmers. And I have the strongest determination to significantly impact the lives of the Ghanaian farmer now that I'm serving as the Agric minister. But that will be based on the resource envelope and how we are able to connect to the base, let them appreciate what we want to do and work together with them. Because if the farmer is liberated from poverty, the whole country will be doing well. Yeah. I read a document from the International Fund for Agricultural Development, and I agree perfectly with them on some of the positions they espoused in that document. One was that every $1 invested in sustainable agriculture yields $23 in return. Do you dispute this?
No.
You don't. You cannot dispute it because the multiplying effect in agriculture is the highest. You just put a grain of maize into the soil, and then within the shortest possible time, you harvest thousands of grains.
After caring for it.
After caring for it. I agree perfectly with you. But look at the multiplying effect.
Yeah.
You put just a piece of cassava stick in the soil. You harvest cassava and a long cassava stick as another raw material.
Yes.
You can't get it anywhere. And so any investment in agriculture, if it's properly taken care of, will certainly rake in returns far, far, far beyond the investment. And that is why we need to lubricate the chain and get things properly connected. When there is ready market for farmers to produce, certainly you don't have any problem. And that is why, as part of our program, we have spoken about a symbiotic, strong relationship between agriculture and industry, farmers and processors. A relationship that can lead to mutualism, so that at the end of the day, your children, my children, walking up and down our streets, doing practically nothing, will be economically empowered to contribute to the socio-economic development of our nation.
We must also factor in the consumer, so that they buy. When we produce, they buy, so that he buys I buy, farmer, then, you know, we are in a cycle where...
No, let me tell you something. I don't know whether you know a little economics.
I did a little in Agric.
Yes, Adam Smith spoke about the limited capacity of the human stomach.
That's true.
So no matter who you are, you cannot exceed natural limits when it comes to consumption. And so there's the need for us to store against the days that will be alive.
Yeah.
And that's why we are talking about a chain. Because when you produce, and there are people to process, there are people to store, there are people to do the packaging, the marketing, and everything. You don't have any problem.
And people to buy.
No, you see, how do you do marketing when you don't have the buyers? Can you go and sit somewhere and say, I'm marketing without buyers? You understand?
I'm saying this because, you know, the Ghanaian has a penchant.
Yeah, I like that.
For foreign taste.
Yes.
So instead of buying Ghana rice, you go and buy Ghana.
You have made a very important point. When you elect people into leadership, you don't expect them to do everything for you. You don't constitute yourself into a moocher where you want everything to come pro bono, free. No, you can't get it that way. The leadership will create the vision. They will craft the strategies for implementation. But they need to rally the people behind. The people must work to complement the efforts of leadership to make whatever they are looking for a reality. And that is why the team we have chosen for this year's Farmers' Day celebration is what we call Feed Ghana, Eat Ghana, and Secure Ghana. So we are working with our farmers to feed Ghana.
Yes.
We expect the Ghanaian populace to also eat Ghana. When we produce and we eat Ghana, Ghana becomes secured.
Yeah.
Is that not correct?
That's very correct.
And that is why we expect those of you who are privileged, when I say privileged, quote unquote, privileged to have a voice, to sit on air every day, for everybody to watch you, to use that medium to help us get our people to appreciate that the only way we can develop is to patronize what is produced in Ghana.
But Mr. Minister, I mean, let's come back.
That should be your contribution.
Oh, yes. We keep doing it. I mean, I do it on my
You
channel.
don't only overhype the lamentations.
Yes.
Because people have developed receptors for negative stories.
But what about policy to say, buy made in Ghana? I mean, we can do it, right? Nigeria did it.
Yes. But you see, you cannot force people to do what they don't want to do. It is proper to get the buy-in of the people to do what is right than to coerce them or force them to do what is right.
Nigeria forced the people, and today they've accepted it.
No, but what I'm telling you is that I can force you to go and drink. But as to whether you drink, you will know whether you drank or you did not.
When you don't have any.
But when we have germane reasons to get people to understand that this is what will inure to our benefit, we expect every reasonable person to understand. Now, when you go to the various communities, there's a development. People have not averted their minds to it. World Bank has indicated that every year, 5,000 people, youth, enter the Ghanaian market in search of jobs. And the opportunities available to absorb them are just few. In fact, in Africa, it is established that every year we produce 9 million unemployed youth. Now just sit down and do your personal calculations. Assuming Ghana every year we produce 4,000 unemployed youth. 4,000. How many unemployed people are we producing within the space of 10 years? Now these are people who are educated. They have certificates. They are able. They are willing. They want to work, but they can't find a job. What happens? They will constitute themselves into a force that cannot be controlled. And they can be a potential source of insecurity to any nation across the globe. So all of us have a responsibility. You sit somewhere in your house. You think that this is a government problem. Okay, your child is in the house, having completed school for several years, no work. Are you not worried? You should be worried. But if we start patronizing what is made in Ghana, we are building the capacity of local institutions to expand and employ more.
Yeah.
Because when you travel outside, it is not the state that employs.
Right.
It is not the public sector, it is the private sector. And that is why our responsibility to create that conducive and enlivened atmosphere, ecosystem, for the private sector to take advantage and then throw out the jobs.
I like the point about now Ghanaians are growing. We're growing a lot of food, yeah? But we're also importing so much. Maize, for example. Why are we importing when we have glut?
No, as for maize, what happened was that because of the dry spell that occurred last year, the government then anticipated that there were going to be shortages.
Okay.
So they granted permits to people to bring in maize in huge quantities to make up for the shortfall.
Okay.
But when we assumed office and then we got our technical people to assess the situation for us, and we saw that the campaign was generating some results, a lot of people were participating in the Feed Ghana program. You know, it is not only about government directly investing in agriculture. It is also about campaigning for mass participation in agriculture. Now we have churches participating in agriculture. As part of the Feed Ghana program, we did that. Our campaign was that we want the churches to be part of the strive to attain food security. Because if you have a congregation and you want them to understand the word of God, if they are hungry, who will listen to you? Huh?
Nobody will listen.
Nobody will listen. So some of the churches are participating. We have state agencies participating. Do you know that Gessel? They are into pepper production. They are producing chili pepper.
Okay.
And they have contract to now export chili pepper to Europe.
Okay.
That's good news for us.
That is.
You understand? Now we have our secondary schools. Most of them are into farming. They are doing very well. In fact, some of them are producing maize. Can you imagine a secondary school producing rice? The maize can be used to produce kenke and garri to support their feeding.
But when it comes to the import, we have
coming,
available data.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So now, the year we are talking about is a peculiar one because of the dry spell and the measures taken by the government. But from what we are seeing now, going forward, there should be mechanisms to limit food importation into our country if data we are gathering will suggest that we are getting sufficient quantities locally.
But didn't we know before we expanded the importation of this?
No, that was what they anticipated.
But this year we have also expanded.
No, when we assumed office, we decided not to continue with that.
So you've not granted any permit for
In fact, we met some 2-3 permits on our table, which was earlier on granted.
Okay.
But after that, we said no. From the report we have had from the technical people, there's no need for us to grant further permit. So we fleece that. But we are told that people are using unapproved routes to get some of these things in here. So we have also notified the security agencies to put a check on that. Can you imagine women in Volta region indicating to me that we should put a ban on the importation of onion because they are producing sufficiently in Ghana? So the Ghanaian people are now determined to do exactly what we want. Because we are telling them the consequences of the situation we are going through. What we need to do is to be sure of the quantities available so we can accordingly put some brakes and checks on food importation. When you read the Feed Ghana document, we have provided some projections that this year, we think that this one, when we assume of it was 12%. The next year, we want to move it to 40%. We want to then move it to 60%. And then by the end of 2028, we should be full sufficient in the production of this. Okay. All these projections have been provided. But you know, you cannot just listen to the news where, my brother, in your nice suit, you communicate. You tell the good people of Ghana that we have so much, so place a ban, and then you place a ban. Okay. We want data to inform our decisions.
Who's doing that analysis for you?
Oh, we have the Statistical and Research Information Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. They work with the donors. The donors, offer them a lot of support in information gathering. We also have the Statistical Service, we go by their data and whatever they gather. And so when they get us the information, that suggests that we are close to the attainment of food sufficiency, then we'll be empowered, emboldened to look at how we can, reduce some of the things that you talk about.
Stopping by, reduce importation, for example. But Mr. Minister, people are going to go into next season.
Yeah.
With what is happening, what assurance are we giving to young people like myself that in the season we are going to go into, we're not going to face disappointment as we are facing? We'll produce. No,
you see, I would not call this disappointment. I wouldn't call it disappointment because I've told you that for the first time, government is making an effort. In fact, some effort has already been made.
Okay.
And government is committed to ensuring that we solve the problem.
Okay.
And so that can never be described as something disappointing.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Now, the youth of our country must understand that agriculture is the way to go. And we are not looking at agriculture in the light of farming alone. We are looking at the entire value chain. If I'm sitting here with you, you showed me your rice.
Yes.
Why is it that you did not limit yourself to the production alone? You realize that if you do that, you cannot maximize the benefits.
Yes.
So gradually, you have succeeded in adding processing. So you are dealing with the entire value chain.
Yes.
And it's a lucrative business.
Yeah.
Far, far better than all the other businesses that we know.
It will become best when Ghanaians consume, buy it more.
Excellent. So your business will become the best if the Ghanaian people will buy from local sources.
Yes, and I want you to try the every.
So this your business alone should suffice for a testimony to the Ghanaian youth that you have been successful.
Of course.
And that when they come in, they will also be successful. Now, people put some of this information on air to discourage our people from venturing into agriculture. We are looking at the entire value chain. I know of some guys who came to me here. They are 6 people in number. They've all completed university. In fact, the very day they came to my office here, all of them were in suits. And I asked them, are you from Bank of Ghana or where? They said, no, we are farmers.
Okay.
I said, great. I'm now seeing different crop of farmers. What can we do together? You know what they told me? That 3 of them are doing the production of rice. 3 of them, and soya beans. 3 of them, they are doing the milling.
Okay.
And they have a buyback arrangement with a company. So they just do it and then they forward it to them. And it is working perfectly. But they have some challenges they wanted to discuss with me. If I can assist them to go through. I was able to assist them. They came back to thank me for what I did for them. They are working. My brother, there is this young guy who came to my office here. He has completed nursing training school. He has not been posted. And he wanted to be part of the Nkokon Kitenkete project. We were then doing the pilot. So when he came, he said, oh, if he can be given some bears. I said, don't worry, I will take yours as my personal project. So I personally bought for him 1,000 bears for him to go and rear. You know what he tells me? I didn't know that within a matter of 6-7 weeks, these bears were going to be ready for market.
Oh, okay.
Broilers. 7 weeks he came back, said my bears are ready for market. And then he wanted to sell 1 at 200. But the market was not responding the way he wanted it. Eventually, he reduced it. And then he tells me that that project alone, he got 120,000.
Okay.
120,000. That is how much?
100, that's 1.2 billion old cedis, you mean?
And yes, and then he asked me, assuming he's been employed for the past 5 years, do you think that within the space of 5 years, he could have accumulated that huge amount of money? So you see what agriculture can do.
Oh, yes.
So let us not overhype the negativities. Every effort is associated with challenges. And it takes that strong determination and perseverance to overcome the challenge and then make it more profitable.
Yeah.
I think that if we work together with our strongest determination, conviction that agriculture is the way to go, we can change the status quo. It is doable.
It is. It is. And it will be great if government institutions would even buy our produce.
No, that is the directive His Excellency has issued now.
Okay.
And that is the campaign we have embarked upon. That is why we have chosen the team Feed Ghana, Eat Ghana, and Secure Ghana. It is not only the responsibility of the state agencies, even those young guys we are fighting for, the youth we are fighting for, they must understand that their consumption can grow the economy or can be a leakage to the Ghanaian economy.
Okay.
Because if you consume from imported sources, your consumption is not contributing to local growth, but it is a leakage to the Ghanaian economy.
Do I get the conviction that Minister is going to now work on reducing importation so that we fill it with our local production?
Your impression is right, germane, but conditional.
Okay.
Conditional in the sense that it will not be sagacious on the part of the minister to put restrictions on food import when the minister is not sufficiently convinced of availability of same locally. Because that will be a disaster.
Okay.
That will portend a calamitous future for this country.
So will your data people help you?
And so once the data
come from local
once the data says that we are capable, we'll move into swift action.
Okay.
In fact, when I checked cassava, for instance, you know, we don't have to import cassava into Ghana.
Okay.
We will not allow that unless it is a special variety for industrial processing that we don't have here. But if it is for consumption, we will produce more than we need. So we will not allow that. We are rather attracting investors to come into the cassava processing space so that we can add value and then do our exports.
How do the farmers complaining of glut get access to buffer stock to buy their produce?
Buffer stock initially registered some individuals, permitted them, gave them license to buy on their behalf. But I think the problem they had was this. You know, the farming seasons are two.
Yeah.
The southern sector, which starts from March, and the northern sector, which starts from May and early June. So when the indication came, the southern sector was the one harvesting.
Okay.
So the attention was on the southern sector. You know, they are done with harvesting now. It is now the turn of the northern sector to harvest. You understand? And people are creating the impression that it is only a problem in the southern sector. So they ought to have been in the southern sector alone. Go to the Volta region and look at the quantities they are complaining about. Even Greater Accra, the Greater Accra regional minister was in my office yesterday, and he was also complaining.
Okay.
And in all the other areas, people are complaining. You know why this time they are complaining? Why is it that in the previous years they were not complaining? This is the time that we have given them the voice. This is the time that we have created that opportunity, that window, that government can come in and buy. But in the previous years, nobody was buying and nobody was complaining.
Are you sure? That nobody was buying?
Yes, government was not buying. When I say nobody, I was talking about government.
Okay, but the market was
able to clear. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's why they were not complaining.
Is that the case?
That's why they were not complaining.
Okay, but today the market is unable to clear. In fact, I have a letter written by the Poultry Farmers Association, Greater Accra, and they made a very revealing fact. They state that between August and September every year, they record glut.
Okay.
It is normally between August and September. But this year's one is unprecedented. They say this, that it is unprecedented because it has traveled to November.
Okay.
And there is no indication that it is ending soon. So you see the peculiarity of this year's production.
Okay. All right.
I hope you get it.
I get it. I get it. So now private companies will be engaged to help in buying back the
It's not will be engaged, have been engaged.
Okay.
Many of them are coming on board.
Okay.
And we are even bringing in people who will buy and export so that we can just clear the grat.
Okay. All right. Mr. Minister, I'm grateful to you for your time.
I'm also grateful. But let's also use your medium to advocate to Ghanaians that whenever there is a challenge, let's sit down, dissect the challenge to see if the embedded in the challenge are opportunities that we can take advantage of.
Okay.
Looking at what is happening now, there are limitless opportunities for people to make a lot of money from it.
Okay.
Just buy the paddy rice, mail them, package them for the market. Huge money. Even apart from that, you can have an arrangement with the buffer stock that you are a private person, you have the resources. You want to buy and then deliver to buffer stock for them to pay you on a future date that you agreed upon. They are ready to do that. So the opportunities are limitless.
Okay.
Sit down with our institutions, talk to our farmers, and let's see how together we can create the wealth, grow our economy, reset our country, transform our agriculture, and then enjoy the benefits together.
It's been nice engaging with you. I think we should have this.
I'm so much excited,
so much excited. So that's the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Honorable Eric Opoku there. We would have this sit down again, but keep enjoying this one on this channel, the Joy News channel. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. We'll meet again some other time. Bye.
Thank you, bro.